Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Joffy Noodle Legs here today with me, my little companion Sullivan. He's here today with me. Do you want to come and say hello, mate? Oh, here he is, everybody. Hello everyone. He's a lovely boy. He always tells me off because he wants to cuddle. So he always tells me off when I put him down. Right, got a different one today. We've got a music video today, and today we're talking about the music of Duke Special. Now, Duke Special are a band from, I believe, Belfast, Northern Ireland. They're an Irish band led by the singer-songwriter Peter Wilson, and they're fantastic, absolutely amazing band. It's difficult to describe their sort of music style because it's so eccentric and so adventurous that it's difficult to sort of like label it. They wouldn't fit into just one category. They fit into a number of categories. You know, sometimes that they sound very pop. They've got very sort of pop elements to them, and other times they're very sort of melodic and sort of downbeat, and have sort of like really kind of really sort of like low mood sort of music, and like some albums are just sort of like Peter with just his piano, and it's very sort of like heartbreaking and very emotion felt. And then they can make albums that are very sort of traditional jazz, sort of trad jazz sort of sound to it. And some of the music will sound like it's from an old gramophone, like 1930s, 1920s sort of music. Because this is all down to, I believe, Peter, who's the main sort of member of the band, his love and passion for music, especially the vintage music. He has a huge love for vintage music. And old sort of gramophone sort of records and stuff like that, which I can appreciate too, because I have a few albums of like songs from gramophone stuff. I wish I owned a gramophone. Sadly I don't, but it would be amazing if I could have a gramophone and some old 78s, and that would be an absolute dream. I would sit and I would listen to that on my days off from work and just relax. But I think they're quite pricey. I've never really looked into getting one, but because I think they're going to be quite pricey. But yeah, and so he has a love for that sort of music. And when they sort of started off, they were quite, they sort of promised to become quite popular and quite sort of mainstream big, because they were kind of shouted out quite a bit by the BBC. Because I think maybe because they had a very eccentric look at the time. Peter had really long dreadlocks, really long, sort of like not false ones, properly growing dreadlocks, and he had such an amazing, beautiful, calming voice, which was, you know, it was like just didn't fit with the image. And that's what I loved about him, because that's what drew me to them. I saw the image because he wore like this old, when I first saw them, he was wearing like an old sort of cavalier sort of top, like soldier top, and he had like these really long dreadlocks. I think, oh, these are going to be quite sort of punky. And they came out, and Peter played the piano. It was like a sort of pub sort of type of piano. And they were playing songs that sounded like they were from a cabaret, or from like the theatre. And it was like, this is like tap dancing music, you know, and it was so different. And then he would break into like a ballad of the most sort of like heartbreaking story and song you've heard. Like some of his earlier sort of songs, like This Could Be Our Last Day, and songs like this, and Mockingbird, Wish Me Luck. And he would sing some amazing sort of ballads, and like I said, they sort of threatened to become quite popular. I mean, they even did a concert with the BBC Orchestra. So at the time, I think the BBC were really into the band almost, you know, and it was like they made appearances on George Holland's show and things like that. And then all of a sudden, disappeared into obscurity. Now that could be down to, because when he first came out, his first couple of albums were on like a major label, and I think obviously they had the money to push the band forward. But then obviously I don't know if he got dropped by the label or if he just left because of like artistic differences. I don't know the story of that. But then he sort of like left the sort of major label. I think he was Peter and his band were quite a bit eccentric for the label, because you can hear in the music the imagination that's gone into it. And I feel that it was probably a bit what the record company are like, whoa, hang on a minute. We love these two sort of debut pop albums that you've done, which have got like this sort of like, although it's still got that sort of eccentric sound with a sort of piano, but it's got like a sort of a pop sound behind it, sort of very melodic with some sort of orchestration in it. And I think that's the way they wanted him to go. But I think Peter and the band had other ideas. Like I said, because a lot of the music is quite jazzy and quite traditional jazz, and a lot of it is also very sort of like downbeat. And I think that's the direction they wanted to go, and it is the direction they went. And they've sort of sourced so many different sounds on their albums. Their albums are so diverse. You'll get albums that sound, like I said, old gramophone songs, and you'll cover gramophone songs. He's even done a couple of albums of cover versions. Duke Special, the band, are not afraid to go into what songs they like and do it as a cover version. And they've actually got 2 albums of cover versions covering songs from a wider range, sort of like, of artists. You know, probably from David Bowie down to Joy Division, you know. So it's quite a diverse sort of range of cover versions. I think they even do a Dead or Alive cover version. So it's that, you know, they're not afraid to like I said, to do what they like, and that is what an artist should do. If you're a true artist, you should be doing what you like and hoping that the public will like it. And if they don't, that's up to them, their choice. Because that is I personally believe that music is an art form, and with art, it's a personal choice. You like it or you don't. No one forces you to like it, and no one's gonna hound it down your throat. And that's what I like about music. The big major companies want to shove it down your throat. You have to like this. You've got to like that. This is it. This is what you've got to like, you know. And we made a lot of money off this album, so we want the next album to sound like it. So, but music is an art form. So if you're a true artist, you do not want to be tied down to those chains. And that's why I think a lot of artists that I like, as you know, I'm a massive David Sylvian fan, and I'm a massive sort of Neil Young fan. They won't be tied down, and New Model Army, they won't be tied down to an individual sound. They are happy to experiment and diverse away from that. And I think that's the sign of a true artist. And Peter and Duke Special are no different. They're absolutely no different whatsoever. He's got a vast array of back catalogue, which I'll show you my collection shortly. Now, I am not a completist, okay? I do not have everything he's done. I don't do that, guys. I don't go out and buy every single thing by that artist, because I just don't do it. I'm one of those guys that if I go to Rough Trade or Record Fair and I see something there that I like by them, I'll pick it up. If it's something that I know I've not got in my collection, I'll pick it up. Or sometimes if their website release something that's exclusive, I will pick it up. But I don't go out my way to try and hunt down everything. One, I just haven't got the money. And 2, I get more enjoyment of discovering something that I haven't got down the line, you know. And if you've got everything, you're not going to be like thinking, oh, there's nothing else for me to search for or to discover. So that's why I don't do it. because I do believe music is a journey of discovery, not only for the music lover like myself, but for the music makers, the bands. It's a discovery, and they discover what they like and like to experiment and play around with that. And so I like to do that too. So my way of doing it is by not buying absolutely everything that the band does. And I'll pick it up, and especially if I can get a good price, I'll pick it up. So that's the way I look at it. Back to Duke Special, yeah. I've seen them a number of times, and every time I've seen them, the show's been kind of different. I mean, I've seen them do some very strange sort of concerts. I saw them at Staley Bridge which is just outside Manchester years ago, and Peter had a full band in. He had a guitar, he had a saxophone player and a drummer, and himself on the piano. And they did like a whole set of Harry Nilsson songs, pretty much, with a few of their own sort of songs sort of thrown in there. But they did like Harry Nilsson songs, which I was dead chuffed because I love Harry Nilsson too. Fantastic songwriter. So that was absolutely amazing. And then next time I saw them, it was completely different. It was Peter on his own on the piano. And he was doing some ballads and stuff of the band and did a few cover versions in there. And then I saw him at Beautiful Days. I got to meet Peter there. I'll try and put a picture up here of me and meeting Peter at Beautiful Days, which was really cool. And they did an amazing set, sort of going through their back catalogue. But I believe it was just Peter and his sort of eccentric, one-man band Chip Bailey that seems to have created this incredible sort of a percussion machine, is all I can call it. But it's like a big metal sort of thing with all these different sort of drums, cymbals, horns on them, all that sort of crazy stuff on there. And he's even got things like dog toy animals like piggies, and he would play these little piggies and stuff like this. And he'd have like a cheese grater and play a cheese grater. It's a very eccentric sort of creation by Chip Bailey. But yeah, I saw them and they had that, and it was a fantastic set. Really, really cool. And they did a mind-blowing cover version of Neil Young's Harvest Moon, which was fantastic. And I've seen Peter a few more times and Duke Special bands since then. I saw them at Saltaire, not far away from where I live, and I saw them in Halifax a couple of years back, and I met Peter and chatted to him again there, and I managed to again get my picture with him, like a proper groupie there. So that was really, really cool. And again, he was there with Chip. So that's brilliant. And then lockdown's come along, and I haven't really seen him since. He's done a couple of live sort of like YouTube things, which I used to tune into. He did like a weekly sort of group sort of thing on there, which I used to tune into when I wasn't working, because unfortunately I'm a key worker, so I still had to work throughout lockdown. And then he's done some tours around sort of like Ireland and things like that. But now he's coming back, I believe, to the UK later in the year, and I believe he's playing down the road, the little town next door to me, Hebden Bridge. So I'm going to do my best to get to that show. It's in November, but I can't just book a ticket just in case I'm working. So because I'm a key worker and I don't have a lot of choice in taking days off. I'm given my days off. I don't have that, like my holidays at work. I'll have that 2 weeks. No, I get given them, and that's what I've got. I don't really get a choice. But yeah, he's playing there, so I'm really hoping to sort of go down and catch him there. But yeah, he's done some amazing collaborations as well, with sort of other sort of eccentric artists and other popular artists. He's done some amazing stuff with Neil from the Divine Comedy. They did a thing where they sort of sung each other's songs, and that was quite cool. And there is a few live concerts of Duke Special on YouTube. And that's another thing that I love about the band. They're not afraid to go and play a pub, you know. They will play like a show, a gig, a concert place, but they'll quite happy play a pub. And I love that because, again, that shows to me the true art of this artist, that he wants to share his music with everyone, not just the people that can afford the expensive concert tickets. He will play a pub, charge 12, 15 quid, whatever it is, a ticket, you know, rather than going to a concert that's going to cost you 30, 40 pound a ticket, you know. And that to me is just amazing. And he doesn't put out a huge array of merchandise, loads of different t-shirts and stuff. I would love a Duke Special t-shirt. I don't have one. He's got some up on his website at the moment, which I was looking at, but they're I think they're white, and I don't do white t-shirts. I do black. So unfortunately, I won't be purchasing one of them. I did get a nice thing in the post a couple of years back from Peter and Duke Special. It's just come from Dublin. It's like a pack of little Duke Special, just little knickknacks, if you like. I was quite surprised when it come through the door. It's got like this little booklet in there, and it's like photos of them recording an album. So that's really quite cool. It's got like sort of photographs of them. So it was a nice little booklet in there, and it came with a little DVD, which was the making of I Never Thought This Day Would Come, which is one of his albums. It's a DVD of the making of it, and I believe it's got some songs on there as well. I haven't watched all of it yet, but there we go. That also came with it, which is cool. It came with another little booklet of sort of like lyrics or poems written by Peter himself. I keep calling him Duke. He's not. He's Peter. Duke Special's name of the band. Oops. Oh, it's got an amazing badge, which I love. Of a sort of old grand piano. Absolutely fantastic. I've not opened these. I can't bring myself to open them and look at the machine badge set. Again, I've not opened them. A deck of cards. As I told you, it's eccentric merchandising, and it's just got like Duke Special written on the back, but it's a proper set of cards with Duke Special written on it, which is I was kind of like, why? What is that about? But I get it. That's cool. Maybe one day if I go to see them, I'll take these along, and after a gig, maybe get Peter and the guys and have a game of cards. I don't know. So that's quite cool. Like I said, and it came with a few sort of stickers. I did have a poster, but I cannot put my hands on it because otherwise I would have put it up on my wall. So yeah, I received that in this little packet through the post, which was I was really chuffed with. You know, how cool is that? Yeah, like I said, I've seen the band a number of times in concert, and I've met Peter a number of times now, and he's an absolute gentleman, absolutely lovely guy, really sort of softly spoken and very sort of a gentle soul, which is great. And I think that comes across in his music and his voice. And another great thing about Peter's voice is his accent shines through. His Irish accent shines through, and it really does put another dimension onto the song. His songs are very sort of diverse. I said it can be very almost theatrical, and sort of like from a play or from a film or something like that, or they can be quite in the back of a bar, you know, just playing the piano sort of sound in the back of the bar. It can be a massive orchestra sounding music. It's absolutely fantastic. So what I'm going to do, I'll show you my collection. It's not huge. I don't have a huge collection of Duke Special, all CDs. You know I only collect CDs, but I'll show you what I've got. So that's my whole collection there. of Duke Special. So I'll show you which ones I've got. Adventures in Gramophone, which is like a sort of extended sort of EP, really, more than an album. Pretty cool. I have Lookout Machines, which I believe could be, I think it's the last sort of like studio album. There is one coming. He's got a new album coming out. This is the album, but he's got a DVD of the making of as well. He's got a new one coming, but the only thing with it, it's going to be available as MP3 or vinyl. I don't own a record player, so I probably won't be picking it up, sadly, but there we are. This one with a very similar cover, live at the Empire Music Hall. So this is a live concert, and I believe it's the CD and the DVD. So I've got it on film and on recording, which is really cool. Now, Little Revolutions Parts 1 and 2. These are albums of cover versions. If I've got my glasses close, I can tell you some of the cover versions that he does on there. So let's have a little look for you. Like I said, they're quite diverse. He does I Feel You by Prince, Ain't Got No by Nina Simone. What other sort of ones is there eccentrically on here? Lucky, which I think is a Radiohead song. Stumble and Fall. Can't remember who sings that one. And on this one, he does things like You Can't Catch Me, which is a Chuck Berry song, if I remember right. He does Love Will Tear Us Apart, which is a Joy Division song. He does You Do Something to Me, a Paul Weller song. I love Paul Weller, really cool. And it just goes through songs of like that I think that he likes, and it's got like there's what's his name, Dead or Alive song on one of these. You Spin Me Round Like a Record, something like that. So it's like all the songs are probably that he's liked over the years, and he's done cover versions of them. So they're great little albums, really cool. One of his major label, I think it's EMI, I think he was on, which is his debut album, which is Songs from the Deep Forest. I have that. Really cool album though, it is great. And I've got it again, got it twice, because he released it again as a limited edition. And this one comes with a live album. It's 2 albums. It's got a live album with it, which is with the BBC Orchestra. I believe it's recorded in Belfast. One of my favourite albums is Under the Dark Cloth. Very downbeat, very sort of slow and sort of melodic album. Really cool album though. I absolutely do love Under the Dark Cloth. Probably my favourite album, to be honest. It's just really, really beautiful listen. One of his sort of more up-to-date albums called Oh Pioneer. I've got like, I think this is a demo, but it's the whole album on a demo disc. Actually, it is the proper album. It's just in a very thin sort of case. So, really cool album. Oh Pioneer, really good. Song on there called Condition, which is amazing. Here's the second album he did with EMI. The one that I've got that making of, and it's I Never Thought This Day Would Come, I think it's called. Really cool. It's got the Mockingbird Wish Me Luck on it, which is an amazing song. Really cool album. I suppose if you're going to start, I would go with the two sort of big albums first of all, just because I think that's his sort of pop albums, and you know, and it really makes his voice shine on those. And then these albums are a bit more sort of a different, eccentric. I've got this box set. It's called The Stage, A Book and the Silver Screen, and it contains 3 sort of mini albums: The Silent World of Hector Mann, Should really put my glasses on because I can't see a thing. Mother Courage and Her Children, and Huckleberry Finn. So they're the three, and these are sort of like they're like little mini albums. They're like 5-6 songs each on each album. So you're getting about 15 to 20 odd songs in this box set. So that's what I do have of his. I also have another live album which was exclusive to his website, which is Solo from Windmill Lane, Dublin. So this is like a live album, like 7 tracks played on the piano, and it's amazing, absolutely amazing album. When I got this, because I bought it from the website, when it ended, I thought, oh man, why has it ended? Why can't we have a double album like this? Come on, Peter, put it out, mate, come on. And then my last thing that I've got is another sort of little box set here of 3 like EPs, I think they are. The first one's called Lucky Me. Again, this one has got 6 tracks on it, so it's like a mini album. Your Vandal. Again, it's got about another 5 or 6 tracks on that one. And My Villain Heart. Oops, that's a bit loose in there. And that's the 3 EPs you got in there. So again, you've got another 15, 16 there. So he's got, these are all like little mini albums or EPs, whatever you want to call them. So that is my collection of Duke Special. Like I said, it's far from complete, but it's what I have, and it's what I love, and I love every single album of these. Now, I'm not going to go recommend to you what's the best one to start with, simply because with this type of artist, start anywhere. Start anywhere. You will not be disappointed. Every album is different from the other, and they're all fantastic. These are probably the 2 that are most similar. So these ones you will probably pick up maybe in a chain store like HMV or something like that. The others you might have to root around record fairs or rough trade places like that, you know. So it's what it is, you know. So that is my whole collection of Duke Special, and this has been quite a long video, so I won't sort of bore you anymore waffling on about it, but please check him out, check the band out, check out Duke Special. If ever, you know, you always get people saying, oh, this band is so underrated. If ever there's an underrated band, Duke Special is one of them, because his whole musical background is so varied and so emotionally attachable. You find yourself attached to him and the band and their music, that you will just fall in love with it, as I have, and I just cannot stop listening to it. This is my most played collection, along with my David Sylvian albums. This is my most played collection because I can play them any time. He's got a music for any time. You're laying in bed, just want some chill music at night in the background, he's got you covered. You know, if you want some fun sort of music to listen to, cool. You want some great music in the background, amazing. He's got you covered. You know, like I said, his music varies from sort of pop to trad jazz to sort of like alternative music to almost stage-like, theatre-like music. It covers a whole variety. I don't know many other artists very much like Duke Special. The only ones that come to mind is probably Mark Almond, because he's another one with such a variety of music. David Bowie, obviously, he's got a wide variety. The Bonzo Dog Doodah Band. I only say that because they're very eccentric in the same sort of sense. They're very into their 1920s and 30s sort of old retro music, or go back and look at some of that old music, some Noel Coward or stuff like that. If or you know, if you like anything that's a little bit eccentric, this guy's got you covered. Amazing. Duke Special. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in if you haven't managed to watch this video. And I hope I've made you think, yeah, I'm going to check this guy out, see what he's like. Because, like Josh said, he's got such an amazing voice, which he has. And the music is so different. You know, yes, it's all pretty much very piano based, but it's all different forms of amazing music. It's got the most amazing, beautiful ballads through to the sort of like up-tempo trad jazz sort of music. It's fantastic. Really worth checking out. Thanks, guys, and I really hope I'll see you all soon.